good?
Testing,
Great.
testing, 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 testing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Test. Look at that beautiful green outfit.
Cantor? You didn't see one?
I didn't.
Okay.
That Phyllis didn't probably. She probably just she does that all the time. So
I think you're reading things, but
I
okay.
don't think so really.
Shabbat Shalom. Good morning and welcome. We gather this morning to continue our celebration of Shabbat, this day of rest and joy and holiness. And we gather this morning with an added measure of joy as we celebrate with Ben, his family, and his friends as he is called to the Torah as a bar mitzvah. Our worship this morning is one of participation. For those of you who gathered in our physical sanctuary, you received a copy of our prayer book, Mishkan Tefillah. If you've had a chance to open it already, you may have noticed two features. The first is that the prayer book opens in the Hebrew direction from right to left. And second, all of the Hebrew that's a part of our worship this morning also appears in transliteration. So even if you're unfamiliar with the Hebrew alphabet, you'll be able to follow along, and we certainly encourage you to do just that. So as we are about to begin our worship, I would like to invite up to the bima Michelle and David Chorus, and invite the congregation to please rise as you are able. Please be seated. We continue with our opening prayer on page 67, and I'd like to invite to the bima Natalie and Todd Schneiderman. Just Natalie. Okay. Here in spirit. Okay. Page 67.
May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. Amen. Amen.
We're about to continue our worship on page 74 with the singing of Ma Tovu. As we are turning to page 74, I invite you, if you brought a cell phone into the sanctuary this morning, please double check to make sure it's turned off. Page 74, Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. How lovely are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel.
Israel, ma tovu.
Our worship continues on page 175 as we invite Ben to come forward and to lead us in Nisim B'chol Yom, the blessings for the everyday miracles that we can experience even in the most ordinary of actions.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lasech vivina lechavim ben yom uven lailach. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam roka haaretz al hamayim. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir shena me'enai utnuma me'alpha pi. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shesani ben horin. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael bigvura. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
This last blessing is the blessing of study, and it gives us the opportunity to, on page 180, to reflect on verses from the Mishnah, the first layer of commentary on the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, that reminds us that there are responsibilities, indeed obligations that we have. The value of performing them cannot even begin to be measured. Page 180.
These are the things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all.
As we move from these introductory passages of our worship to the next section, the Shema and its blessings, we mark the transition with a prayer called Chatzi Kaddish, which can be found on page 194.
Yid Gadol v'Yid Kadosh Meir Rabba
Amen.
V'Elmad Yivrach Yerutei V'Yamlich Malchutei V'Chayachon V'Yamachon V'Chayei L'chol Beit Yisrael B'Hagala U'Bizman Kariv V'Imru Amen Yehei Shemei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam U'Lalmei Almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach Yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei V'yitadal v'yitalel v'yitalal Shemei d'kudsha Brichu le'ila min kol b'chata v'shirata Tush b'chata v'nechamata Damiran be'alma V'imru Amen
shalom uvorei et hakol. Hameir la'aretz valadarim alecha rachamim uvtuvo mekadesh bechol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai kulam bechochma asita ma'al kinyanecha titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach me'aseh yadecha ve'al me'oresh oshasita yefa'arucha selah. Or chadash al Zion ta'ir v'niztechu lanu mechera le'oro baruch atah Adonai yoseh
We continue on page 199 in the English responsively. O God, inspiration and guide for all, you have spoken in 1,000 tongues for us to hear. In every land and every age, your children have heard you and imagined you in separate ways. And yet, O God, you are one, unifier of humanity.
We give thanks for the sages and teachers who bring us understanding of your will. Gratefully, we recall the lawgivers and prophets, the psalmists and sages of Israel. And joyfully, we remember that from the dawn of Israel's life, we would turn to you and find purpose.
May the teachings of our ancestors live on in our minds, and their passion for righteousness stir our hearts. Help us to live so that our daily conduct reveals the beauty and wisdom of your truth.
Baruch atah Adonai.
Baruch Shemo.
Baruch be'amo Yisrael be'ahava.
Amen. We'd like to invite Ella to join us at the bima.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Ve'afta et Adonai Elohecha, Bechol levavecha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha vechayu harvarim ha'elech asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha vishinatan levanecha v'dibartam bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha Uvlechtecha vaderech, ushochbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, vechayu letotafot beineinecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha. Leman tizkeru ve'asitem et kol mitzvotai, Veitem kedoshim le'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Asher chotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lahem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
We continue on page 203 as Ben continues to lead us in the English.
Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Adonai, Shabbat Yisrael, Uvtechinu Mecha Yehuda Yisrael, Goaleinu Adonai Tzvaot Shemo Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch Ata Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael.
Adonai Sefatayv Titach Ufi Yagite Chilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Ve'Elohei Avotenu V'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarach, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor V'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Chakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imaot, Umevi Geula, Nevnem Hem, Lema'an Shemo, Be'ahavach, Melech Ozer, Umashia, Umagen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Vizrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah Rach Le'oshia, Morid Chatal, Mechakel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Barachamim Rabim, So Li Shenei Afar, Mi Chamoha Baal Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit Umachayet, Umatzmiya Yeshua, V'ne'eman Atah Lechachayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechaye HaKol.
Please be seated. We arrived at the middle portion of this part of our worship, and it gives us the opportunity to again reflect on the sacred nature of Shabbat, this day of rest and joy and holiness. We do so with the words of Yismechu at the top of page 211. We invite you to join together with us.
Yismechu
this part of our worship to a close, we do so with a prayer for shalom, a prayer for well-being, for wholeness, indeed a prayer for peace for ourselves, for our families, for our community, and indeed for all the world. Sim Shalom, page 216.
שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים, עלינו ועל כל ישראל, עמך. Please join us. שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים, עלינו ועל כל ישראל, עמך. ברכנו יוצרנו, כולנו כאחד, באור פניך, כי באור פניך נתת לנו, אדוני אלוהינו. שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים, עלינו ועל כל ישראל, עמך. תורת חיים ואהבת חסד וצדקה וברכה ורחמים וחיים ושלום, וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל. שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים, עלינו ועל כל ישראל, עמך.
Baruch atah Adonai,
ברוך הוא ברוך שמו,
baruch et Amo Yisrael, Shalom.
שים שלום, טובה וברכה,
We invite you to take these next few moments for the prayers not necessarily found written in our prayer books, but the prayers that we each can find written in our hearts in this moment of silent reflection.
We turn now to Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the order for the reading of the Torah beginning on page 244, and invite up Mark Lee, Shelley Marks, Alex Marks, and of course, Ben, for the passing of our Torah. Page 244, please rise as you are able.
When you show respect to others, they gain more respect for themselves. My Torah portion, Shemini, is from the book of Leviticus, the third book of the Torah, and was Rabbi Cohen's Torah portion. Shemini takes place as the Israelites are wandering in the desert looking for a home. Shemini means 8 and refers to the 8th day of ordination when priests began leading the congregation. It also talks about the laws of kashrut. Kashrut refers to the way the Israelites were commanded to eat and cook. In the verses I will chant, we hear about Moses directing Aaron and his sons to bring a burnt offering to the temple. Nadab and Abihu, Aaron's sons, bring forth an alien fire, and they lose their lives because they didn't show respect for others and didn't follow directions properly. Moses and God felt disrespected when Nadab and Abihu chose not to follow the specific directions given about burnt offerings. Because of their disrespect, God decided that not only did they not deserve to be trusted, they did not deserve to live. In the end, Nadab and Abihu were killed in the same way they showed disrespect, with the fire. This story becomes the example for the Israelites of what not to do. And in this way, I learned that in order to gain respect for yourself, you have to show respect to others. A personal example of mine is at times I struggle to keep my cool. My baseball coach, Coach Lerner, always gives me tips on how to keep my composure. I try my best to listen to him, and it's paid off a lot. Last year in a tournament in Cooperstown, New York, I was brought in to pitch late in the tight game. I immediately gave up a long home run to cut the score to 1 run. Normally, I'd get very upset at myself because of things like this. However, I listened to my coach's tips and stayed calm and ended up getting the last 3 outs to win the game. I learned that when I listen to people who teach me on how to improve, it makes both me and the person guiding me feel respected and recognized. When someone sees the best in me, I'm able to be my best when I listen to them. When I show respect and listen to others, I gain more respect for myself. For my Tikkun Olam project, where I do good deeds to help the community, I chose to volunteer at the Ark, an organization that provides community services for Jews in need. Specifically, I helped out at their food pantry, stocking shelves, and separately volunteered at a soup kitchen. I chose these projects because I know how important it is for people to be food secure, and I wanted an in-person project to see the faces of the people that I helped. I learned, knowing that they greatly appreciate the work I did for them. I learned that people are very thankful when you give your time for them. While at the soup kitchen, I was in charge of the drink station. Every single person thanked me for being there. I could tell how appreciative they were for the work I was doing to help them out. I also made sandwiches for the guests to take home. While not a lot of food, I knew it would make a difference in their lives, and it made me feel good. I want to continue doing Tikkun Olam projects in the future because it feels really good to help people and is repairing our world. I was able to show respect to everybody that I helped, which taught me the true value of respect. I want to thank Rabbi Cohen, Rabbi Heaps, Cantor Friedman, my tutor Roz Wolf, and everyone at Temple Jeremiah for helping me prepare for today. I want to thank all of my family for their love and support on this journey of mine. Finally, I want to thank all of you for coming today and sharing my special day with me. It is because of all of you that I am the person I am today. Baruch atah Adonai, blessed are you, God, who gives each of us the power to show respect for others. By showing respect for others, we can gain more respect for ourselves. May we all grow in respect for ourselves as we respect others. And as always, Shabbat Shalom. Do I stay up here?
So I want to teach you a really important phrase that we have in Hebrew. Repeat after me. Yasher.
Yasher.
Koach.
Koach.
Well, we might have so many instruments that can add to our worship. Our voices, our clapping, our joy. When we are in services, we tend to say Yasher Koach more than giving applause. So let's try it for Ben. 1, 2, 3.
Yasher Koach.
Remember that. You'll want to say it a couple more times. We are going to turn directly to our Torah scroll reading, not just all the things that Ben has learned from the Torah scroll, but we might want to support it with some Torah directly from the scroll too. So if you would like to follow along, you're more than welcome to do so in your Humashim, the printed versions of Torah that are either under your chair or one of the chairs nearby you. And we'll begin with Leviticus chapter 9, verse 24. I believe it's page 718, but I'm not positive.
I've honestly no idea.
Making something up maybe, but it's Leviticus chapter 9, verse 24.
For the first Aliyah, we would like to call to the Torah today Shelley and Wendy Marks. Yamdu, Shlomo ben Levi Martha, V'Shoshana Ruth bat Valta v'Helen, Aliyah Rishona.
Where are you starting, Ben? Baruch Hu es Adonai HaMvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamrach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMvorach Le'olam Voed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'nasa lanu es Toraso. Baruch Atah Adonai Nosein HaTorah.
Amen. Amen. Vateitzei eish milifnei Adonai vatochal al hamizbeach et chaolam ve'et chachalavim vayar kol ha'am Vayaronu vayplu al penechem, Vayiknu vene acharo, Nadav ve'avihu ish machtavto, Vayiknu vachen esh vayasimu alecha ketoret, Vayakrivu lifnei Adonai, esh zara asher lo siva otam. Vatetse esh milifnei Adonai, vatochal otam, vayamutu lifnei Adonai.
Good job, Ben. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech olam, asher nosan lanu toras emes, v'hai olam nata b'soheinu, Baruch atah Adonai, nosein adon tov.
Amen. For the second Aliyah, we would like to call to the Torah Mark and Lori Lee. Yamdu Moshe ben Avraham v'Delphin v'Leah Rachel bat Meir v'Helen Aliyah Shenit.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Amen. Vayomer Moshe el Acharon, Hu asher diber Adonai lemor bikrovai et Kadesh ve'al pnei kol ha'am et kaved vayido Acharon vayikra Moshe el Mishael ve'el el Safan bnei Uziel dod Acharon Vayomer Aleichem, Kir vu se'u et acheichem me'et penei hakodesh el michutz lamachaneh, vayikravu vayisaum bichut tonotam el michutz lamachaneh ka'asher diber Moshe.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten ha'torah.
Amen. For the third Aliyah, we would like to call to the Torah Erica and Alexander and Ella Marks. Yamdu Adina bat Moshe v'Leah ve'Alexander ben Shlomo v'Shoshana ve'Alana Marit bat Alexander ve'Adina hamishpacha shel habar mitzvah Aliyah shlishit.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarah. Baruch Hamvarach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah. Amen. Vayomer Moshe el Aharon ul Elazar ul Itamar b'nav rashechem al tifra'u uvigdechem lo tifromu v'lo tamutu ועל כל העדה יקסוף, ואחיכם כל בית ישראל יבכו את השרפה אשר שרף אדוני, ומפתח אוהל מועד לא תצאו פן תמותו, כי שמן משחת אדוני עליכם, ויעשו כדבר משה, וידבר אדוני אל אהרון לאמור.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. It's now my honor and privilege to call this amazing young man, Mr. Benjamin Koufax Marks, to the Torah as a bar mitzvah. Ya'amod, Ya'amod, Herzl ben Alexander ve'Adina, Li'achrona, is a bar mitzvah.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamavarach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Yayin v'shechar al tesht atah uvanecha itah bivoachem el ohel moed v'lo tamutu chukat olam ledorotechem ulhavdil bein hakodesh uvein hachol uvein hatamei uvein hatahor ulharot et bnei Yisrael Eish kohach lokim asher diber Adonai aleichem bayad Moshe. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam natav b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
We return to our prayer books, now at the bottom of page 252, and invite up Ella Marks and Sophia Schneiderman to help us lift and dress and return our Torah to the Ark. Page 252, please rise as you are able.
V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe livnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Eitz chaim hi lamachazim
We now have the opportunity to hear a couple words of Haftarah, a part of our Hebrew Bible that connects to our Torah reading of the week. You are more than welcome to continue following along back in the Humashim, the printed versions of Torah, now on page 729 with the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 7, verse 13, page 729.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza v'divrechem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo Uv-Yisrael amo, uv-Vinvieh ha'emet v'tzedek. Hu yivne bait lishmi v'cho nanati ekisei mamalachto ad olam. Ani echye lo la'av v'chu yeli levein asher b'ha'avoto v'cho haftiv b'shevet anashim u'ni'ei b'nei adam v'chastei lo yasur mimenu ka'asher chasiroti Me'im Shaul asher chasiroti milfanecha v'ne'eman beitcha u'mamalachtecha ad olam lefanecha kisecha yiyech nakon ad olam kechol hadvarim cha'elech uvechol chahizayon Chazach Cain Diber Natan El David Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Sor Kol HaOlamim Sadik Bechol Hadorot Ha'el HaNe'eman HaOmer Ve'oseh Cham Deber Kaim Shekol devarav emet v'tzedek al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al chanviim ve'al yom ha'shabbat chazer shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnucha lechavod u'ltifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu Anachnu modim lach, umvarachim otach, yitbarach shimcha, befi kol chai tamid leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh chashabat.
We're so proud of you this morning, Ben. Proud certainly of the way that you led us in worship, the way that you chanted right now from the Haftarah, before from Torah, the lesson that you taught from your own study of the Torah portion. These things make us very proud, don't get me wrong. However, the things that make us most proud are all the things that have brought you to be able to celebrate this moment with all of us. And we at Temple Jeremiah feel this forward Aline Frost, a member of our executive committee of our board of directors, to make a presentation expressing this pride that we feel in you.
Thank you, Rabbi. Mazel tov.
Thank you.
Well, you taught us quite a bit this morning, but actually, even though I did not read your Devar Torah prior to you sharing it with us this morning, I already knew something about you that fits with your Devar Torah. You spoke about showing respect to others, gaining respect for yourself. And when I met you this morning, I introduced myself to you in the rabbi's study. And a minute later, you came back and you shook my hand and you said, "It is so nice to meet you." There was such sincerity and warmth in the way you said that. And as you're sharing your Devar Torah, I thought, this young man already has come a far way in knowing about respect. So thank you for teaching us this morning. He made it look so easy, didn't he? Not so easy. You finished one chapter in Leviticus, made it halfway through more than halfway through the next chapter in Leviticus. Next year, perhaps you'll read more for us. It's a privilege to represent the congregation and share in our pride. You've worked very hard to get to this day. Lots of study, lots of hard work. So much joy and pride in the congregation. We hope that your studies will continue in Judaism. Learning is a lifelong value. We have some certificates for you. We hope that in continuing your studies and in continuing your connections with Judaism, I will get this out when I have two hands. Trust me that there are certificates in there to help support a trip to Israel, so you'll have those. Last but not least, should you wake up tomorrow morning and say, did I really do this? The answer, of course, is yes, and here's a beautiful certificate of Bar Mitzvah for you to have in honor of this moment. Mazel Tov.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aline. So, here you go. Psst. Psst. It's like we've never done this before. You pointed out and reminded us that the Torah portion Shmini was actually my Torah portion when I became a bar mitzvah just a few years ago. And when I said just a few years ago to my kids this week, they laughed. A few years ago, Dad? Really? A few years? Yeah. What I remember, I'm not exactly sure what I spoke about, and I don't have the actual text any longer of that. Here's what I remember. I remember standing in front of a podium and being so grateful that it was solid all the way down to the floor so that nobody could see my legs because I could not control them. They were shaking so horribly. And as I was watching you with this great confidence, I'm thinking, wow, when I was 13, I wish I had that kind of confidence. But you, again, it comes with preparation. It comes also with respect, right? Respect for the material, respect for the process, respect for what it means to become a bar mitzvah. And really, to me, that's what came through in everything that you shared with us this morning from start to this point right now. And as you were talking about respect, and I was thinking about the dietary laws, right? Also a part of this morning's Torah portion, this week's Torah portion. And the question has been asked, is God really that concerned about what we eat? You know, is God really concerned about our diet? Can that be the sum total of what the dietary laws really are about? And throughout the generations, people have asked this question and responded in different ways. And one of the responses that I find most meaningful is that, yes, we should be concerned about what goes into our mouths, what goes into our bodies, and we know this, right? You know this from being an athlete, that you have to take care of your body in all kinds of ways, not the least of which is being careful about what you eat. But this commentary says, not only if we should be so concerned about what goes in, we should be even more concerned about what comes out, right? The words we use, the way we speak to one another, the way we treat one another, and that if we're careful about what goes in, chances are we're going to be, hopefully, even more careful about what comes out. And what comes out is hopefully words that reflect respect, integrity, goodness, and kindness. And our hope and our prayer for you is that you will continue to show respect to others, build that respect for yourself, to use your words to bring kindness and integrity into our world. Now, Ms. Frost has expressed her pride in you. Okay? Rabbi Heaps is proud of you. Cantor Friedman is proud of you. I'm very proud of you. Paul Dykstra is very proud of you. Matt is very proud of you as well. Is very proud of you as well. Everyone here is, but nobody is as proud as your parents. And so I'd like to invite Erica, Alex to come forward and share words of blessing in honor of this moment.
Benjamin, given the opportunity to offer words of blessing for you, we wish to speak of the blessing of courage. And we thought it most appropriate to communicate that message through the context of your middle name. Months before you were born, your mother and I began to discuss potential names for you. While tradition called for one starting with the letter of a deceased relative, I intended to aim higher. I embarked on a mission to name you after the greatest Jew of all time, Sandy Koufax. When challenged by rabbinical scholars on this contentious point, I note that while Moses may have parted the Red Sea, he did not strike out 15 Yankees in the house that Ruth built in Game 1 of the 1963 World Series. In fact, Rabbi Moshe Feller, no relation to Bob, once said, I quote, "More Jews know Koufax than Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob." Anticipating pushback from your mother and seeking to be coy about my endeavor, one day I casually tossed out Sanford, which is Sandy's full first name, among other middle name options, just to take her temperature. Your mom would make a lousy poker player because her facial expression unequivocally indicated that such suggestion was dead on arrival. When later quizzed on the origin of my submission, I sheepishly revealed my motive, thinking that by that point, the jig was up. Days later, your mother continued the conversation, and I think driven by a desire to find a unique middle name, she unexpectedly said, "What about Koufax?" I nearly fell over. God, or perhaps the baseball gods, had answered my prayer. Over the last 13 years, many people have quipped to me that with such a middle name, it was a good thing that you ended up liking baseball. However, that seemingly obvious observation misses the point. I never wanted to name you after Sandy Koufax because of his pitching acumen, though impressive, or merely because of our religion. Instead, I desired that name because he did something courageous. In 1965, Koufax had arguably the best season of his career. His unrivaled dominance made him the obvious choice for the Dodgers to start in Game 1 of the 1965 World Series, which happened to fall on Yom Kippur. When considering the internal and external pressures Koufax must have faced to play in that game, being at the height of his powers and at a time when few things were bigger than the World Series, along with the fact that he was not very religious, it is all the more remarkable that he chose to sit out of the game. In 2015, award-winning journalist John Rosengren summarized the significance of Koufax's decision, which over a half-century later still resonates among Jews. Koufax burnished his reputation as someone willing to honor the traditions of Judaism before all else. Had Koufax been Orthodox or regularly attended services, his observance of Yom Kippur would have been expected, but the fact that he was not especially religious made his decision in 1965 even more significant. It bonded secular Jews with the observant and forged a new cultural identity for American Jews. In a 1966 biography, Koufax was quoted as saying, "There was never any decision to make. Yom Kippur is the holiest day of the Jewish religion." While he viewed it as unremarkable, Koufax had done something valiant, not because it was easy or popular or afforded him any benefit, but merely because he believed it was the right thing to do.
So Ben, as you stand here today before your family and your many friends, while we, and I'm sure your baseball coach, wish that your curveball improves, we more importantly hope that you may always show the courage to do what you believe is right, no matter how difficult, how unpopular, or how unrewarding it is to do so. May you carry with you sturdy convictions and show resiliency in the face of adversity. May you not shy away from a challenge, and be guided by principles and demonstrate steely resolve. May you make hard decisions, set an example for others, and lead from the front. May you never be afraid of scrutiny and lend a voice to those who need to be heard. And when considering where you are going, may you not forget where you've come from, both this religion and the generations of very strong family members before you. We are encouraged to date by your future prospects for carrying this torch. You have shown empathy and concern for others, you perceive and respond to suffering, and you are always willing to assist. However, life is a long game, and you are only in the first inning. Much work remains to be done, whether by affirmative or merely symbolic deed. The world needs principled actions now more than ever. We cannot wait to see what the future will hold for you and the ways in which you will continue to show courage as we strive for Tikkun Olam. We know you will make your namesake proud. We love you very much.
Mazel tov.
If you will stand between your mom and dad, one of the tremendous privileges that we have in serving the congregation, I invite Cantor and Rabbi, if you'll join me, is to add to the beautiful words just shared by your mom and dad with words that were given by God to Aaron, Moses' brother, first spiritual leader of our people, and passed on through the generations. So we might ask God's blessing upon you now with these ancient words.
Yevarechecha Adonai v'yismerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'kuneka.
May God's radiance shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God's presence be a constant source of strength for you in your life, and may God grant you the choicest of all blessings, the blessing of shalom.
Amen. Amen.
And to this, let us all say, Amen. Mazel tov. Mazel tov, Eric. Mazel tov. Mazel tov, Alex. Beautiful.
It seems that with every act of courage, every act of respect, every act of integrity and intention is that opportunity to build the world that we know truly can exist, to create a world of our dreams in our own lives. And we're taught that that action is called Tikkun Olam, to repair the world that we have, to make it a little bit better for ourselves, for our loved ones, for next generations. And we're also told L'tatkein Olam b'malchut Shaddai, to do every act of repair with the help and support of each other and with the inspiration of God.
L'tatkein olam b'malchut Shaddai. Together we can heal the world. L'tatkein olam b'malchut Shaddai. We must all work together, 'cause we are all the children of Adonai.
It's at this point in our service we think of those who are no longer physically present in our everyday lives, but forever remain a part of our hearts, our minds, and our souls. If there's someone whom you are thinking of, whether you're in a period of Shiva or Shloshim, whether you're marking a yahrzeit or someone just happens to be called to mind at this moment, I invite you to rise and say their name aloud. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And especially at this moment of celebration, Ben and his family are thinking of Stephanie Lee, Louis and Martha Marks, Helen and Walter Leckman, Meyer and Helen Lieb, and Albert and Delphine Lee. Our Kadisha Tome, our Mourner's Kaddish, can be found on page 294. Please rise as you are able. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yirteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayachon u'vyomechon, u'chayed kol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei olmaya, yitzbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmeid kudsha b'rechu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei teva v'yimru
Zichronam livracha, may their memories forever be a blessing. And together we say, Amen. Please be seated. Now, it wouldn't be Shabbat without a little bit of a nash, a little bit of sweetness. And so, Ben, I invite you back to the bima to share in Kiddush and Motzi with the Kiddush cup that you're going to use for the first time as a gift from Temple. And also, I have a note here, all the cousins. How many cousins do you have that I'm about to invite up to the bima?
A lot.
Okay, great. Let's see how many cousins. Cousins, come on up.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom.
So for anyone who didn't get challah, I promise there's more in the lobby later in a second, because before we all go and continue our Shabbat celebrations, a couple quick announcements. Each of you received a prayer book when you came into our sanctuary from our wonderful ushers. Thank you very much, ushers. We ask that you kindly and gently, patiently return the prayer books when we leave the sanctuary so that the ushers can put them all back. Just remember that they only have 2 hands, and there's a lot of prayer books that are about to come their way. And I know so many of you want to tell Ben, Yasher Koach, and Mazel Tov. You will have every opportunity in the lobby where there is so much room and so much more challah. Instead of crowding around him here in between the aisles, meet him in the lobby. Ben will meet you there first. And we will conclude our service on page 321 with Adon Olam. Open your ears, see if you can hear the special tune to it. And I invite up Barry and Lauren Marks to help us with our closing song and our ark. Please rise, page 321. God bless your people with strength. Bless your people with the most precious of all blessings, the blessing of shalom and Shabbat shalom. Shabbat
his name was really going to be Koufax, though. I thought their family name was really Koufax. I kind of wanted it to be, though. You think they'd change it?